Across the wild plains of Texas, a growing menace is threatening farms, livestock, and livelihoods. Giant wild boars multiplying faster than ever before. These powerful animals tear through fields, destroy irrigation lines, and leave nothing but ruin in their path. But a skilled team of hunters has stepped up to fight back, using precision, teamwork, and years of field experience to restore balance to the land. This isn't sport, it's survival. Watch as the hunters take on one of the most destructive forces in the American South, and witness the battle that defines the future of these farmlands. The early morning air in southern Texas was thick with humidity, carrying the earthy scent of mesquite and damp soil. As the first light crept over the horizon, our team gathered near the trucks, quietly preparing for another long day of wild boar control. The wild hog population had exploded across the region, tearing through crops, damaging irrigation systems, and posing serious risks to livestock. This was no weekend hobby or trophy hunt. It was necessary land management, and everyone on the team understood the weight of that responsibility. Ryan, the most experienced among us, stood by the tailgate of his truck, checking the scope alignment on his .308 rifle. Across from him, Luke loaded his magazine and tightened the straps on his chest rig. Each of us worked methodically, no unnecessary talk, no wasted motion. We had hunted together for years, and efficiency had become second nature. By the time the sun cleared the tree line, we were ready to move out. The plan was simple but strategic. Our dogs would flush the boars from the creek bed that cut through the farmland, pushing them toward the open fields where we had clear lines of fire. Boars were fast, smart, and incredibly destructive. If you gave them an opening, they'd vanish into the brush in seconds. The key was coordination and timing. Once everyone was in position, Ryan gave a subtle nod. The dogs were released, their sharp barks echoing through the valley as they disappeared into the tall grass. Minutes later, the first sounds of chaos broke out. The undergrowth shook violently, and deep grunts carried through the air. I steadied my rifle and scanned the ridgeline. Then, out of the brush, three dark shapes burst into view, muscular wild hogs charging across the open field. The first one veered left, the second cut through the center, and the third bolted straight toward the fence line. Luke took the lead, bracing his rifle against a fence post and firing a clean, controlled shot. The closest boar dropped instantly, sliding several feet before coming to a stop. The herd split, with some retreating toward the woods and others pushing further down the creek. I repositioned quickly, jogging through uneven terrain until I reached a higher vantage point overlooking the clearing. From there, I could see the boars weaving through patches of sunlight and shadow. Ryan's voice came over the radio, steady and calm. "Keep your eyes on the southern line. They're circling back." His tone carried experience. He'd seen it countless times before. Moments later, movement caught my eye. A massive boar emerged near the edge of the brush, easily twice the size of the others. Its tusks glinted faintly as it dug into the soil, thrashing in defiance. I slowed my breathing and adjusted my aim. The crosshairs settled just behind its shoulder. The shot rang out sharp and controlled. The recoil pressed against my shoulder as the boar stumbled forward, then collapsed into the grass. Even at a distance, the sheer size of it was intimidating. We regrouped briefly to check the downed animal. The boar weighed easily over 300 pounds, a clear sign of how well-fed these invaders had become. They thrived in the agricultural abundance of Texas, feeding on corn, soy, and anything else they could uproot. For farmers, each herd represented thousands of dollars in potential loss. Controlling their numbers wasn't just about hunting it. It was about survival for local agriculture. After tagging the carcass for processing, we moved deeper into the property. The terrain shifted from open farmland to thicker woodland, where visibility dropped to just a few meters. The dogs were ahead, again, tracking fresh scent trails. Every step had to be measured. A startled boar could charge without warning. I could hear the dogs barking frantically in the distance, then the sudden snap of twigs, a sure sign of contact. Ryan signaled us to spread out and flank from both sides. The tension built as we crept closer. Suddenly, a powerful grunt erupted from the thicket, followed by the unmistakable sound of hooves pounding the ground. A large sow burst from the brush, heading straight toward Luke's position. He reacted instantly, dropping to one knee and firing a precise shot. The animal tumbled forward, kicking up dirt and leaves before going still. We held position for a moment, making sure there were no others trailing behind Dot by late morning. The heat began to climb, and the forest seemed to shimmer under the weight of the sun. We stopped briefly at a shaded ridge to rehydrate and review the map. The GPS tracker attached to one of the dogs showed several more pings to the east sides of another herd. "We're not done yet," Ryan muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "Let's push another mile." As we descended toward the lower valley, the terrain opened again into a patch of wild grass bordered by shallow water. This was prime boar, territory muddy, concealed, and teeming with activity. The dogs barked aggressively, circling the area. Then, the unmistakable sound of movement filled the air. One by one, shadows emerged from the brush. 5, maybe 6 boars, ranging from smaller juveniles to full-grown adults. We spread out in a semicircle, rifles raised. The first shot came from Ryan, followed by a volley from the rest of the team. The sound of gunfire echoed through the valley, each shot deliberate and measured. Boars scattered in all directions, but the coordinated angles left them few escape. Roots. Within moments, 3 were down. 2 others bolted toward the tree line, wounded but still mobile. Luke and I gave chase, cutting through uneven terrain to intercept. One of the boars stopped abruptly, turning to face us with lowered tusks. I steadied my rifle, locked in my sightline, and fired once. The bullet struck true. The animal staggered, then collapsed. Silence followed, broken only by the distant barking of dogs and the hum of insects rising with the heat. We paused, breathing heavily, then exchanged quick nods. It was a clean, effective hunt, just the way Ryan liked it. By afternoon, the team regrouped near the trucks. The tally was significant: 8 confirmed kills, all processed according to state hunting guidelines. The carcasses would be utilized responsibly, and the landowners would finally get a break from the nightly destruction. The mood was tired, but satisfied. These hunts weren't glamorous, but they made a difference. Every outing meant fewer crops destroyed, and fewer threats to livestock. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the golden light spilled across the open fields, illuminating the tall grass where the battle had taken place. Ryan leaned against his truck, his face streaked with sweat and dust. "They'll be back," he said quietly. "They always come back, but we'll be ready." His words carried a steady conviction, the kind that comes from years of facing the same relentless enemy. Later that evening, we reviewed the footage from the hunt. The drone capture showed sweeping views of the terrain, the precise coordination of the team, and the sheer magnitude of the wild hog problem. It wasn't about the thrill. It was documentation, education, and respect for the land. This footage would be shared to raise awareness of how serious the feral hog invasion had become across the southern United States. In many ways, this wasn't just hunting, it was stewardship. Every farmer, every hunter in the region shared the same goal: protect the land, preserve the balance, and confront the problem responsibly. The battle against wild boars wasn't one that could be won overnight, but with each successful operation, progress was made. as night settled over the plains. The sounds of the countryside returned, the low hum of insects, the distant calls of night birds, and somewhere far off, the faint rustle of movement that reminded us the work wasn't finished. Wild boars were resilient, cunning, and ever adapting. But so were we. And as long as there were men like Ryan, Luke, and the rest of our crew, the farmlands of Texas would not be left UNDEF. The next morning would bring another hunt, another challenge, and another chance to protect what generations before us had built. Out here, that's just how life goes, quiet, relentless, and always moving forward.